Welcome to Daily Global Motivation, the place where you come to reset your mindset, rebuild your discipline, and remind yourself of who you are becoming every single day. If you've been waking up feeling tired, unfocused, or already behind before your day even starts, then this is exactly what you need to hear right now. This is not just another video you watch and forget. This is something you come back to every day until your habits change, your mindset strengthens, and your life starts moving in a different direction. Before we go further, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment, "I'm ready." Because change begins with a decision, not a feeling. What you do in the first moments of your morning sets the tone for everything that follows, whether you realize it or not. If you start your day with intention, you take control. But if you start your day reacting, you give that control away. This message is here to remind you that you have more power than you think, but only if you choose to use it. You are not stuck, you are not behind, and you are not incapable. You are simply operating on habits that no longer serve you. And the moment you change those habits, everything begins to shift in your favor. So listen carefully, because what you do after this matters more than anything you have done before. Every morning you wake up, you are given a new opportunity to either repeat the same patterns or create something different. And most people choose repetition without even realizing it. They wake up the same way, think the same thoughts, follow the same habits, and then wonder why nothing changes in their life. Change does not happen by accident, it happens by intention, and intention must be followed by action. If you want a different life, you cannot keep starting your day the same way you always have. The way you think in the morning shapes how you act, and how you act determines your results. If your first thoughts are negative, distracted, or unfocused, your entire day will reflect that. But if your first thoughts are intentional, focused, and aligned with your goals, your day begins with direction. This is why mornings are so powerful, because they give you a chance to reset your mindset before anything else influences you. Most people waste that opportunity, but you don't have to. You can decide, starting today, that your mornings will work for you instead of against you. The biggest mistake people make is waiting to feel motivated before they take action. Because motivation is unreliable and inconsistent. Some days you will feel ready, but most days you won't. And if you only act when you feel like it, you will never stay consistent. Highly successful people understand that action comes first and motivation follows, not the other way around. When you take action, even when you don't feel like it, you create momentum that makes the next step easier. That momentum builds over time and turns into discipline, which is far more powerful than motivation. Discipline allows you to show up regardless of how you feel, and that consistency is what creates real change. You cannot build a new life on temporary feelings. You have to build it on consistent actions. Every time you choose action over excuses, you strengthen your mindset and move closer to your goals. This is not about being perfect, but about being consistent enough to make progress. And progress, no matter how small, is what leads to transformation. You also need to understand that your environment plays a major role in how your mornings unfold and how your mindset develops throughout the day. If you wake up and immediately surround yourself with distractions, noise, and negativity, you are setting yourself up to lose focus before you even begin. Your phone, your habits, and your routines are either helping you move forward or pulling you backward without you noticing. When you start your day scrolling, comparing, and consuming, you lose control of your attention and your direction. Highly focused people protect their mornings because they understand how valuable that time is. They choose what they consume, what they focus on, and how they begin their day with intention. By doing this, they create a mental space that supports growth and clarity. You need to do the same if you want different results. Take control of your environment, and you will take control of your mindset. Another important shift you need to make is focusing on small actions, instead of overwhelming yourself with big expectations. When you wake up thinking about everything you need to do, it can feel overwhelming and make you want to avoid starting altogether. This is where most people get stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they are trying to do too much at once. Instead of focusing on everything, focus on the first step, because the first step is what creates movement. Once you begin, you build momentum, and that momentum makes it easier to continue. Small actions may seem insignificant, but they are the foundation of big results over time. When you repeat small actions consistently, they turn into habits, and those habits shape your life. This is how change actually happens, not through one big decision, but through many small decisions repeated daily. If you can commit to starting small, you remove the resistance that is holding you back. And once you start, everything becomes easier. Asterisk, you must also be honest with yourself about how you have been using your time and whether your current habits are aligned with the life you want to create. It is easy to say you want change, but much harder to make the decisions that actually lead to it. If your mornings are filled with distractions, delays, and avoidance, then your results will reflect that. Your habits are a mirror of your priorities, whether you admit it or not. If something truly matters to you, it should show in how you spend your time, especially at the beginning of your day. This is not about judging yourself, but about becoming aware of what needs to change. Awareness is the first step toward improvement, because you cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. Once you see the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you can start closing it. That process begins with small adjustments that you can maintain consistently. And over time, those adjustments create a completely different reality. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. And it is built through consistent action, not sudden bursts of motivation. You do not need to feel ready to be disciplined. You need to decide to be disciplined and then follow through on that decision. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort, even when no one is watching. This is what separates people who change their lives from those who stay stuck in the same patterns. Discipline is not easy, but it is simple, and simplicity is what makes it powerful. When you repeat disciplined actions daily, they become habits, and those habits shape your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who shows up, follows through, and takes control. That identity creates confidence, and that confidence reinforces your actions. This is how you build a cycle of growth that continues to push you forward. You also need to stop waiting for the perfect moment to start, because that moment does not exist and never will. There will always be reasons to delay, distractions to pull you away, and doubts that try to hold you back. Waiting only makes it harder to begin, because the longer you wait, the more resistance you build. Action breaks that resistance, even if it is imperfect and small. The idea that you need everything to be right before you start is one of the biggest lies that keeps people stuck. Progress does not require perfection. It requires movement, and movement creates clarity. When you take action, you learn, adjust, and improve. But when you wait, you stay the same. The sooner you accept that, the faster you will move forward. You do not need more time, you need more action. And the best time to start is always now. Your mindset in the morning is shaped by what you focus on, which is why you need to be intentional about your thoughts as soon as you wake up. If you immediately think about stress, problems, or everything that could go wrong, you create a negative state that affects your entire day. On the other hand, if you focus on opportunity, growth, and what you can control, you create a mindset that supports action. Your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your behavior, which means your thinking determines your results. By choosing your thoughts intentionally, you take control of that process instead of letting it control you. This does not mean ignoring challenges, but approaching them with a mindset that is focused on solutions. Over time, this habit strengthens your mental resilience and makes it easier to handle difficulties. When your mindset improves, your actions follow, and when your actions improve, your results change. This is how you create a different outcome starting from the way you think. Another key factor in changing your life is consistency, because consistency is what turns effort into results over time. It is not about doing something perfectly once, but about doing it repeatedly until it becomes part of who you are. Many people start strong, but stop when things become difficult or when they stop seeing immediate results. This is where discipline becomes essential, because it allows you to continue even when progress feels slow. The results you want are built through repetition, not intensity, and repetition requires patience. When you stay consistent, your actions compound, and that compounding effect creates growth that is hard to see at first, but powerful over time. You have to trust the process and keep moving forward even when you do not feel like it. This is what separates those who succeed from those who quit. Consistency is not exciting, but it is effective, and effectiveness is what leads to change. You should also understand that discomfort is part of growth and not something to avoid if you want to improve your life. When you stay in your comfort zone, you stay in your current situation, even if that situation is not what you want. Growth requires you to do things that feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and sometimes difficult. This is not a sign that you are failing, but a sign that you are moving in the right direction. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the more your tolerance for it increases, and the easier it becomes to act despite it. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes normal, and your capacity for growth expands. Avoiding discomfort keeps you stuck, but embracing it moves you forward. This is a shift you need to make if you want to see real change. And once you make that shift, your potential becomes much greater. You also need to take responsibility for your life instead of waiting for something or someone to change your situation for you. No one is coming to do the work for you, and no external factor will create lasting change unless you decide to act. This is not meant to discourage you, but to empower you, because it means you have control over your direction. When you take ownership of your actions, you take ownership of your results. This shift in mindset is essential for breaking out of cycles of inaction and frustration. It allows you to move from blaming circumstances to creating solutions. Responsibility gives you power because it puts you in control of your choices. And your choices determine your future more than anything else. When you accept this, you stop waiting and start acting. Another important element is believing that change is possible for you, because without that belief, it becomes much harder to take action. If you constantly doubt yourself, you create resistance that makes progress feel impossible. Belief is not something you are born with, but something you build through action and experience. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Over time, that belief grows and makes it easier to take bigger steps. This is why starting small is so important, because it allows you to build confidence gradually. Confidence is not built by thinking, but by doing, and doing consistently. When you see yourself making progress, your mindset shifts and your actions improve. This creates a positive cycle that continues to build momentum. And once that momentum is strong enough, it becomes difficult to stop. Right now, you have a choice to make about what you do next and how seriously you take what you have just heard. You can close this video and continue your day the same way you always have. Or you can take one small action that moves you in a different direction. That choice may seem small, but it determines whether you stay the same or begin to change. Your life is shaped by what you do consistently, not by what you intend to do someday. By choosing action now, you create momentum that carries into everything else you do. This is how change begins, not with a perfect plan, but with a decision to move forward. Every step you take reinforces your ability to continue. Over time, those steps create habits, and those habits shape your life. And it all starts with what you do right after this. If this message resonated with you, then do not let it fade without taking action that reinforces it right now. Subscribe to Daily Global Motivation so you can continue building the mindset that pushes you forward every single day. Like this video as a commitment to yourself that you are ready to change and willing to take control. Share it with someone who needs to hear this, because growth becomes stronger when it is shared and reinforced. And leave a comment saying, "I will change my life," as a declaration of the decision you are making today. Words alone will not change anything, but actions that follow those words will. This is your moment to start, even if it feels small or uncertain. Stay consistent, stay focused, and keep moving forward no matter what. And remember, your life changes the moment you decide to take control of it.